Hey guys, today we're talking about genetics and hair growth, okay? And now, genetics, we know genetics, it determines how tall we are, it determines our skin complexion, it determines our body shape, it determines our face shape, it determines everything basically about us. So, why do we think that it doesn't determine our hair growth? It definitely determines our hair growth. But if it determines our hair growth, then why do we even bother to grow our hair long? Because our genetics has already determined that you grow long hair or you have short hair. And also, does it mean that some people are just not going to have long hair regardless? Like, they're just not going to have long hair no matter what they try. So, let's talk about it, okay? Let's talk about it. When we're talking about genetics, there are two main parts of the hair growth that it actually influences. Two main parts. So, the first main part is the anagen phase. This is the phase your hair is actively growing, meaning after this phase your hair is going to fall out of your head, and that's what we see as shed hairs, okay? And as you know, we shed our hair every single day, meaning every day there is at least one strand of hair that is completing its cycle, which means anagen determines how long your hair can grow, like the maximum length it can be. Hair growth rate determines the length of hair you can grow per day. It's like how much hair can you grow per day, which will accumulate to how much hair will you grow per month. So I'm sure you probably have heard something like we grow 0.5 inches per month, okay? So that's your hair growth rate, also determined by genetics. So the next question to ask now is what's the range? What's the range for hair growth rate and what's the range for anagen phase? So for anagen phase, the range is from 2 years to 8 years, meaning your hair may grow between 2 years and 8 years for your anagen phase. Now, I don't want anybody to come and argue with me in the comment section that, oh, they know someone whose hair has been increasing in length for 10 years, okay? This is a range, meaning there might be people that exceed it and there might be people that are under it, okay? But for most people, this is a range. Now, the second thing we want to talk about is the hair growth rate. What's the range? It is 0.2 inches to 0.8 inches. So I know many people are quaking right now, like,
oh my god, I think I have 0.2 inches of hair growth, and if my anagen phase is only 2 years, then oh my god, 0.2 inches in 1 year, that means I'm only growing maybe 2.4 inches of hair. And then if my anagen phase is only 2 years, that means my maximum hair growth rate will be 4.8 inches. No wonder my hair is short.
No, I want you to measure your hair. If your hair is longer than 4.8 inches, then this is not the case for you, okay? This is not the case for you. You can cancel that out of your mind. The other thing I want to say about this range is that when you see a range of values, I want you to always know this. When you say a range of values, it means that most people are concentrated in the middle. So let's use an example to kind of like explain what I'm trying to say. The shortest person in the world is less than 2 feet tall. The tallest person in the world, I think, is taller than 8 feet. Yeah. So that means the range of human height is between 2 to 8 feet, right? But 2 feet and 8 feet are exceptions to the rule. What do I mean by that? This means that people who are 2 feet tall, they're exceptions to the rule, and people who are 7 feet tall are exceptions to the rule, which is why earlier in the video I said if you know someone whose anagen phase is maybe 10 years or 20 years, that's an exception to the rule. At the same time, if you know someone's hair growth rate that is like maybe 0.1 inch, that's an exception to the rule. They're extreme cases, okay? So you want to cancel anything out of the range away from your mind. Now let's focus on the range of height. Human beings usually range from between maybe 3.5 feet to 7 feet. That's the range. But let's think about it. When you're walking on the street, how many people do you see that are 3.5 feet tall? And how many people do you see that are like over even 6.5 feet tall? Probably one a day, if you even see that at all. But what's the height you see most on the road? You see people between 5 feet and 6 feet, or maybe, yeah, between 5 feet and 6 feet, or let me even say between 5 feet and a little over 6 feet. That is what you see mostly. That's because that is the middle value, okay? Even though people can be between 3 feet tall to 7 feet tall, most times you don't see people who are 3 feet or 7 feet. Most times you see people who are in the middle, 5 to 6 feet. The same thing for everything else. If you want to check maybe skin color, let's say I grew up in Nigeria, so let's use Nigeria as an example. You know, you have the people that are very light skin and then you have people that are very dark skin. When you are walking on the road, how many people do you see that are these two extremes? you probably don't see a lot of them, but people who are in the middle, you know, you see a lot of them. So this is just what I want you to understand about range, and you can try to any other thing you want to try with, any other thing you want to try to, okay, that you can create a range with. So now for hair, we have our range 0.2 to 0.8 inches. What's the middle value for this? The middle value is 0.5, which means that 0.5 is the most common hair growth rate. And this is why most times you will hear people say, oh, your hair grows 0.5 inches a month. But let's add +1 and -1 just for other people. So -1 will be 0.4 inches and +1 will be 0.6 inches, which means most people's hair growth rate will be between 0.4 to 0.6. Now let's talk about the ANAGEN phase, 2 years to 8 years. Let's focus on the middle, where most people will be, okay, where most of the population will be, which will be 5 years. So if the average is 5 years, let's just say ANAGEN phase will be between 4 to 6 years for most of the population. Do we get it? Now let's calculate the shortest maximum length that most people will have, okay? So if 0.4 inches is the lowest hair growth rate, okay, 0.4 inches, and then 4 years is the low end of the ANAGEN phase. That means in 1 year, someone with 0.4 inches of hair growth will grow 4.8 inches of hair. And then if we multiply it by the ANAGEN phase, which is 4 years, 4.8 times 4 is 19.2, which means that the person will be able to grow 19.2 inches at least. So I brought a tape rule to help you guys to visualize what 19.2 inches is, okay? So this is 19 inches basically. This is 19 inches. From the back, it's literally waist length hair, okay? It's literally waist length hair. From the front, it is, you can see, basically almost waist length. So Lala is absolutely right. She has shown us that most people are capable of growing waist length hair. But let's even reduce the hair growth rate to 0.3, because a lot of people believe that their hair growth rate is still lower than 0.4. If you're growing 0.3 inches of hair every month, at the end of the year you have 3.6 inches of hair, and at the end of 4 years of ANAGEN phase you should have about 15 inches of hair, okay? So if you have 15 inches of hair, that's almost waist length, that's mid back length, that's just 4 inches shorter than someone with 0.4 inches. But I promise you, most people have 0.4 to 0.6 inches of hair growth a month. And if you want to actually know this, you want to know for sure what your hair growth rate is, I want you to do an experiment. Yeah, I want you to do a protective style that will last for 2 months at least, okay? I want you to take your hair measurement before installing the protective style, and I want you to take your hair measurement after installing the protective style. Whatever you get, divide it by 2. Why I said 2 months is because most times we cannot notice small changes like 0.4 or 0.5 inches, but you're definitely going to notice something like 0.8 inches of hair growth, or 1 inch of hair growth, or 1.2 inches of hair growth. But when you're doing these experiments, to be very accurate, you have to measure from the exact same spot, first of all. Second of all, you have to make sure you're not breaking your hair when you're installing the protective style, and you're not breaking your hair when you're taking down the protective style. So that will show you how much hair you actually grow per month. And most people have a 4-year, at least a 4-year ANAGEN growth. What's my take home from this? My take home from this is that everybody can grow at least mid back length hair, okay? If you've not grown your hair to mid back length hair, that should be your goal, okay? Everybody can grow at least mid back length hair, and most people can grow waist length hair, while many people can grow even tailbone length hair. So to emphasize my point, I quickly want to tell you about my own natural hair journey. In 2015, I started my first natural hair journey, and I was only able to get to armpit length after 5 years. So after 5 years, I was able to get to armpit length, okay? Then I cut my hair all off and I started again in 2020. And from 2020 to 2021, just 1 year, I was able to get armpit length hair. I'll link the video here. And because of this, I realized that my genetics didn't change, What changed was my hair care practices, my hair care routine. And instead of growing armpit length hair in 5 years, I was able to grow armpit length hair in 1 year. So trust me when I say genetics play a role, but your hair care routine and your hair care practice play an even bigger role. But before you blame your genetics for the reason or your hair isn't growing or anything, make sure you try your best to grow your hair and make sure you're taking care of your hair properly. Check out my videos how I grow my hair in 1 year to see what you should and should not be doing. Subscribe to this channel. See you guys next time. Bye.